Good day, Deep Word family. Welcome to day 145 of our Bible study review. Today we're going through chapters 28 through 30 of the book of Jeremiah. Chapter 28 is about a false prophet who sends a false hope, right, concerning the Babylonian exile. So let's start reading and see how this plays out. It says, in the same year, at the beginning of the reign of Zedekiah, king of Judah, in the 4th year and in the 5th month of Hananiah. So Hananiah is the false prophet, all right? And it says right here that he spoke to me in the house of Yahweh in the presence of the other priests and of all of the other people, saying, thus says Yahweh of Sabaoth, the Elohim of Israel, I have broken the yoke of the king of Babylon. Within 2 full years I will bring back into this place all of the vessels of the house of Yahweh that Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, took away from this place and carried to Babylon. Verse 4, and I will bring back to this place Jeconiah, the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, with the captives of Judah who went to Babylon, says Yahweh, for I will break the yoke of the king of Babylon. Now, just to back this up a bit, right? So Jeconiah was probably his original Hebrew name, right? And then we see in the scriptures that he's also called, Jehoiakim or Jehoiachin, right? Chin, which in Hebrew, the CH is more like chin, right? So this is interchangeable. 2 names to describe one man, and this usually happens when there is another empire who comes and takes over, right? We will see this in the book of Daniel with the 3 Hebrew boys. They have original names, but Nebuchadnezzar changes their names to fit his culture. So that is why you see 2 names for one man, but this is describing the same person, all right? Jeconiah is Jehoiakim or Jehoiachin or Jehoiachin, just depending on how you pronounce it. He is the same person. He's the son of Jehoiakim who was taken off to Babylon, and he was, taken out of prison, and he is the only one that we see at the very end of 2 Kings chapter 25 that he has favor from the king of Babylon, and he has a kingly portion. He gets to sit at the table and dine with the king of Babylon. He is treated, right, with fairness, with kindness. And so this prophet, Hananiah, is prophesying that Yahweh is going to bring him back and set him on the throne of David. And then Jeremiah hears his false prophecy, and he says, all right, perfect. Well, if your prophecy comes true, then you will know that you are a true prophet of Yah. And this is what Jeremiah says in verse 9. Nevertheless, hear now this word that I speak in your ears and the ears of all of the people. The prophets of old who have been before me and before you both prophesied against many countries and against many great kingdoms of war and disaster and pestilence. As for the prophet who prophesies of peace, when the word of that prophet comes to pass, then that prophet shall be known as one whom Yah has truly sent. Verse 10, then Hananiah the prophet took the yoke from off of the neck of the prophet Jeremiah and broke it. Hananiah spoke in the presence of all of the people, saying, thus says Yahweh, even so I will break the yoke of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, from the neck of all of the nations within the space of 2 full years. Then the prophet Jeremiah went his way. Then the word of Yah came to Jeremiah the prophet, after Hananiah the prophet had broken the yoke off of the neck of the prophet Jeremiah, saying, go tell Hananiah, saying this, thus says Yahweh, you have broken the yokes of wood, but you have made instead of them yokes of iron. For thus says Yahweh Sabaoth, the Elohim of Israel, I have put a yoke of iron on the necks of all of these nations, that they may serve Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and they shall serve him. And I have given him also the beasts of the field. Verse 15, then the prophet Jeremiah said to Hananiah the prophet, listen now, Hananiah, Yahweh has not sent you, and you make this people trust in a lie. Therefore, thus says Yahweh, I am about to cast you off from the face of the earth. This year you shall die, because you have taught rebellion against Yahuwah. So Hananiah the prophet died that same year in the 7th month, right? He's not dealing with false prophets who use his name, right? Who invoke his name on a lie. You can't lie on his name and get away with it, all right? So he died because of that lie, trying to comfort his people, right? Telling a lie, saying that, oh, in 2 years, this is going to stop and we're going to go back to all things per the usual. Chapter 29, this is about a letter of Jeremiah to the exiles who have been sent to Babylon. Jeremiah is not touched. Jeremiah is not going to the Babylonian exile, and we will see the conclusion of that later on. So let's read verse 1 of chapter 29. Now these are the words of the letter that Jeremiah the prophet sent from Jerusalem to the rest of the elders of the captivity, and the priests and the prophets and all of the people whom Nebuchadnezzar had carried away captive from Jerusalem to Babylon. And it says right here in parentheses, this was after Jeconiah, which is Jehoiachin, right? The king and the queen and the eunuchs and the officials of Judah and Jerusalem and the carpenters and the smiths departed from Jerusalem. So I'm going to read parts of this letter that Jeremiah is, sending off to the exiles. And these are the words from Yahuwah, right? So he says right here in verse 4, thus says Yahuwah Savuot, the Elohim of Israel, to all who have been carried away captive, whom I have caused to be carried away from Jerusalem to Babylon. Build houses and dwell in them, and plant gardens and eat their fruit. Take wives and beget sons and daughters, and take wives for your sons and give your daughters to husbands, so that they may bear sons and daughters, so that you may increase there and not diminish. And he says, seek the peace of the city where I have caused you to be carried away captive, and pray to Yahuwah for it, for in its peace you will have peace. Then he also tells him right here in verse 19, for I know the plans that I have for you, says Yahuwah, plans for peace and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. Verse 12, then you shall call upon me, and you shall come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You shall seek me and find me, when you shall search for me with all of your heart. So he's saying, I'll hear you when you restore your hearts truly back to me, right? And he says, I will be found by you, says Yahuwah, and I will turn away your captivity and gather you from all nations and from all of the places where I have driven you, says Yahuwah, and I will bring you back into the place from where I caused you to be carried away captive. And then Yahuwah, through Jeremiah, addresses those who are not listening to his words. He's saying, do not trust the prophets who send you letters saying that your captivity will be finished soon, right? He reassures them it will be 70 years. And he says, those who are still in Jerusalem, right, who are doing their best, fighting tooth and nail to remain there, he says he is going to destroy them much like, right? If you go back and see what happened to Zedekiah, right? Zedekiah's eyes were gouged out and his sons were killed in front of him. And later on, Zedekiah is killed. And so this is what he warns. This is what he says for those who trust in lying words of lying prophets. He says, may Yahuwah make you like Zedekiah and Ahab, who the king of Babylon roasted in the fire, because they have committed folly in Israel and have committed adultery with their neighbors' wives and have spoken lying words in my name, which I have not commanded them. And then we see further on in the chapter as well that there's another man who is identified here as being someone of a false testimony. So the man's name is Shemaiah, and he is sending letters back to those who are in Jerusalem who have not fallen to the captivity yet. And so those who are still there, still acting as priests, he is making any old person a priest instead of Jehoiada, who was the priest, and he's making madmen, anyone, a priest. And Yahuwah has something to say towards this man. And he says right here, I will punish Shemaiah and his seed. He will not have a man to dwell among this people, nor will he see good that I will do for my people, says Yahuwah, because he has taught rebellion against Yah. So essentially, Yahuwah, right? Yahuwah, sometimes I say his name differently. He is destroying every false witness, every false prophet who uses his name and says, this is what he says when he did not say it. He is destroying those testimonies. He is destroying every person who is speaking a lie, right? And he is wanting those within the Babylonian captivity to read these letters and see these reports that the words that come from Jeremiah are the true words, not the words from anyone else. And now we walk into chapter 30, which is a promise to restore Israel, the 10 northern tribes, and the southern kingdom of Judah, right? The kingdom was separated, but this is a prophecy of restoring the full kingdom, right? Back to one kingdom, not two separate kingdoms. And so let's just read from verse 1. It says, the word that came to Jeremiah from Yahweh, saying, thus says Yahweh, Elohim of Israel, write all of the words that I have spoken to you in a book. For surely the days are coming, says Yahweh, when I will restore the fortunes of my people, Israel and Judah. All right, so he's talking about the two kingdoms. Thus says Yahweh, I will also cause them to return to the land that I gave to their fathers, and they shall possess it. These are the words which Yahweh spoke concerning Israel and Judah. I have heard a sound of trembling and fear, and not of peace. Ask now and see, can a male labor a child? Funny, people are arguing about this ridiculousness right here. No one but a female, a biological woman, can birth a child. All right? And so he says, why do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in labor? All faces have turned pale. Alas, for the day is great, so that no day is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. So he's saying Israel shall be saved out of this great time of trembling, which we know is the tribulation period, right? A period of 7 years. And it says, for it shall come to pass in that day, says Yahweh Sabaoth, that I shall break his yoke from off of their necks and tear away their bonds, and strangers shall no longer make slaves of them. Verse 9, but they shall serve Yahweh their Elohim, and David their king, whom I will raise up for them. We know that our Messiah is being raised up through the loins of David. King David is going to be raised up as well. So in the millennial reign, not only will we see our Messiah, but we will also see King David working alongside of our Messiah. Verse 10, therefore do not fear, O my servant Jacob, says Yahweh, nor be dismayed, O Israel, for I will save you from afar and your seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return and shall be in rest and be quiet, and no one shall make him afraid. That is not now. That is not now. Okay, so that's not prophesying about what is taking place right now. This is talking about in the future. The millennial reign. There will be no peace on all sides until the Prince of Peace comes. Okay. So right here, verse 11, for I am with you, says Yahweh, to save you. Although I make a full end of all nations, wherever I have scattered you, yet I will not make a full end of you, but I will correct you in measure and will not leave you altogether unpunished. And then it goes on to tell Jacob, right? After he tells him he's going to restore them, and he says, look, you're going through this current time of punishment, right? And your wounds are open, and you're going through this pain and this agony because of your iniquity. And he says, I am the judge who is allowing this to happen to you because you have forsaken my covenant. You have broken my covenant. You have forsaken me. Therefore, you are going through this. But then he says at the end of it, right? He says, I will devour the nations that have devoured you. And so he returns back to a great promise after telling them like, hey, you're going through some judgment. I'm chastising you at the moment. And he says right here in verse 17, for I will restore health to you, and I will heal you from your wounds, says Yahweh, because they called you an outcast, saying, this is Zion, whom no man cares for. He says, I will restore the fortunes of Jacob's tents and have mercy on his dwelling places, and the city will be built upon her own heap, and the palace will remain in its rightful place. Out of them will proceed thanksgiving and the voice of those who make merry, and I will multiply them, and they will not be few. I will also glorify them. So he's saying, look, there's a time in the future where you have failed, right? But I am going to do something great in you so that you will not stumble again. And he says right here in verse 21, their leader shall be one of them, and their ruler shall proceed from their midst. That is our Messiah, y'all. And he says, and I will cause him to draw near, and he will approach me. For who is this that dares to approach me, says Yahweh. You shall be my people, and I will be your Elohim. Now he's building them up to this greater understanding of the covenant that they have broken, right? Because right after today's chapter, we're going to get into Jeremiah 31, which talks about, right, the renewed covenant, right? And it's not that the Torah has been done away with. It's that he's going to have a renewed marriage, right? A renewed marriage covenant contract. And it's based on better promises on what he will do, right? Because she failed. She broke it, right? Israel broke it. So he is alluding, right? Preparing them for what he is going to do to restore them. And it's not going to be based off of anything that they do. He is going to be the one who restores them, right? And restores their heart. And so this is what he says to finish out this chapter. Verse 23, look, the whirlwind of Yahweh goes forth with fury, a continuing whirlwind. It will fall with pain upon the head of the wicked. The fierce anger of Yahweh shall not return until he has done it, until he has performed the intentions of his heart. In the latter days, you will understand it. Right? So again, there are many things we don't understand in this moment. But when our Messiah is ruling and reigning and we are ruling and reigning with him, there are many things that we will know at that point that we don't understand at this moment. We still have so much more to learn. And during that time, he's going to be teaching us. And there are going to be certain things settled in our heart that we will just understand that we never understood before. So he's talking about Judah, right, in this time of their great exile. And we also know that Israel, the scattered tribes, they're exiled. They're all across the earth, right? Nobody really knows for sure who the true, I guess you can say genetic people of Israel are because they've been scattered and just absorbed into the nations, right? And so there's this great promise, an even greater promise, right? Because all of the world system is called Babylon, right? So we see a physical Babylon, but there's also spiritual Babylon. And our Heavenly Father is calling all of us out of the system. And there's one great day where he is going to bring all of those who trust and believe in him, because he says those who believe in him will not be ashamed, right? He is going to vindicate us and he is going to bring us to this great promise. And then we will see and we will understand things, because his word says that we will, right? I trust and believe it because he says we will just understand it. We will just know at that point. So much like this letter of comfort to the exiles that are in Babylon right now, this whole world system is called Babylon. And so those who truly yearn for the king, right, we want out of this. We want out of this wilderness and we want to cross over into the promised land, into the promises of a restored body, right, and to the promises of ruling and reigning with our king. We are ready. We are ready for Babylon to fall and for the true kingdom, right, to rise up and to be in front of us, right, front and center. So let this be an encouragement to us as well, because I read this as a double reference. It's talking to the people then, but it's talking about a future time of restoring the full kingdom, right, back in Jerusalem. And y'all, we will be a part of that. Deep in Word family, that's all that I have for you today. Until tomorrow, Yah bless.